What do I want to explore today? Where that photo came from, what happened after, and why the town of Wittenoom in Western Australia is pretty fairly considered Australia's version of Chernobyl. I'm Will Grant.
I'm the shoveler Rod Lamberts.
The shoveler.
Yeah, why not?
The young Langley Frederick George Hancock was out trapping dingoes on his father's vast
Country.
cattle station. Yeah. Mulga Downs is the name of the station, and station is an Australian word in this sense that means
State.
small country or even medium-sized country owned by one person where you can raise cattle or do stuff. And he saw, as Australian Women's Weekly described later, an unusual dark blue rock in Wittenoom Gorge. He took it in his pocket and went back to the station where there happened to be a visiting geologist.
What do you know?
This English mining engineer, interpreted by the 1962 Women's Weekly. That there is premium grade blue asbestos, a vital mineral used in the production of gunpowder, gas masks and pressure piping. Mm-hmm. Young Lang's ears pricked up when he heard the price. £70 a tonne. He staked out a claim. Now, it took him a little while to start mining. He didn't actually start mining as a 10-year-old.
Lazy.
But he started mining when he was about 25, so in 1937. And this kicked off what's called a little asbestos mining boom. They began surface mining, which, as it sounds,
picking up rocks?
That's what I thought.
I'm a miner. No, you're not. You're picking up rocks. You're fossicking.
Okay. There is different types of surface mining. He was picking up rocks.
Yeah.
But something changed. World War II. Suddenly, the Australian government said, you know what, we've had all of our supply routes cut off, can't get stuff from Britain and Canada anymore, so we've got to be self-sufficient in the supply of asbestos. I don't know why they chose asbestos. The ad hoc surface mining that Lang was doing came to the attention of the sugar refining company, CSR, Colonial Sugar Refining.
Is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So CSR is an existing Australian company. You can buy sugar from them. You can also buy building parts from them. They were worried about their supply of asbestos, so they said, all right, we need to get in and buy ourselves a mine.
We need a plucky young entrepreneur.
Yeah. They'd never done any mining before.
Well, it still isn't mining. It's picking up rocks.
Lang sold out. Basically what they need to do is build a proper mine, not just pick up the rocks, but go underground. As well as that, instead of having a few people doing it, let's ramp up the scale. Let's get to a few hundred people doing the mining.
Not enough.
So in the late 1940s, the Western Australian government kicked in and said, okay, cool, we'll build you a little town. So eventually the town would get to nearly 1,000 people, 880 people or something like that.
Okay.
20,000 people would live or work there over the few years that it was around. And they hung a banner over the entrance to the mine site.
This is actually a town. You'll love it here.
Let us strive to make it a happier place to work.
Please help us.
So how did the mining work? So previously you're just picking rocks up off the ground, but no, this time they went, okay, let's go underground. There were these veins of asbestos running into the gorge. This was the blue asbestos. For those playing at home, it's crocodilite, or the worst, the worst of the asbestos types.
Worstelite.
Worstelite. Big drills, drilling holes in the wall, fill them full of dynamite.
Yep.
And then when you've done all of that, you would
Run.
end of your shift. So everyone clears out. You explode the dynamite. Next shift comes in and clears out all of the asbestos you got out of there, and then drill some more holes.
It's not like on my list of backup careers.
There's a lot of dust around.
Really?
Inside the mine shaft. You know, you're exploding stuff. You're picking
But it's all good dust.
because there was so much dust. You could only see the wall in front of you. You couldn't like a meter.
I don't know how you stay sane doing that. I don't.
But if the mine was bad, the next stage was worse.
Cool.
Because you take all the asbestos out and it goes down the hill a little bit to the mill.
Smash it.
And yeah, that's what they're doing. So this is basically a factory where you're smashing it and getting the asbestos fibers
So the
out.
trick is, what we want to do is make this shit as breathable as possible.
Yes. And then the last bit you can't do with machines, so you have to do with your hands. So they're just scooping the raw asbestos fibers and putting them in Hessian sacks.
They actually suggest it's better if you do it with your mouth because you get a better seal. So you just,
I will get to that. Oh my God. They did try to wear masks at some point, but it was too hot and no one forced anyone. So you can't breathe through this mask. So it's...
is that a problem?
Oh, there was a final stage as well. So the mill is where you take the useful asbestos, put it in the sacks and take that to the rest of the country. Oh. But the leftovers are the tailings.
I didn't think of that.
So that's stuff that's either not useful or, it's been cried or whatever it is. It could be rock, but it could be asbestos. The cool thing about that is they just dumped it everywhere. The streets of the town. I don't know why they didn't like the red dust out there. So there's this nice photo here.
It's beautiful.
They'd use the blue tailings dust to cover all of the streets.
Aesthetically pleasing. Good call.
And so this is some kids doing a sack race. It looks nice over there. Of course, those sacks are former used asbestos sacks.
Of course they are. And sugar.
They also filled up all of the kids' sandpits with asbestos tailings.
Come on. This is like a B-grade movie. It's fucking Austin Powers supervillain. And we'll put it in their food.
well, here's the
We'll
thing.
use it as shampoo. Medicines will squirt it up their noses.
Here's this bit. And I couldn't find where to fit this bit in because, here's this beautiful photo of kids in the sandpit that is an asbestos sandpit. But sometimes the kids would chew on the asbestos tailings as a substitute for chewing gum.
Yep.
And I'm like...
Of course they did. What didn't they use it for?
This wasn't good. So there are basically two diseases that asbestos causes. The first is asbestosis, chronic scarring of the lungs, and definitely can be fatal. It's one of those things that can be potentially slightly milder forms. So disease 2.
Oh, yeah.
The worst one, mesothelioma. It's cancer of your mesotheliomes. They're the sort of linings of your organs. So
organs, not lungs, organs.
All of your organs have little sort of linings, critically here, because asbestos is getting into you through your lungs. It's the thin layer wrapped around your lung. Usually the victim dies within a year. It is not as common as asbestosis.
But it's got a much better strike rate.
That's it. About a quarter as common, but at least 20, 30 times as deadly. Let's get back to Wittenoom.
I don't want to. I don't like it anymore.
The first case of asbestosis in the town was reported in 1946. That's 2 years before the town was even named, 2 years before they'd finished actually building the mine. But, keep going. And then in 1962,
there you go. Heady days.
They found the first case of mesothelioma in Australia and in Wittenoom. Throughout the 1950s and 60s, people were telling so many horror stories about the dust. More and more cases of asbestosis and mesothelioma began to emerge.
Yep.
Nothing that anyone did caused it to stop, except for the fact that it became not profitable anymore.
Imagine that.
In 1966, it got to a point that we could import asbestos from other places that was cheaper.
Yeah, we'll let them die.
The mine was closed in 1966 just because it was not profitable anymore. In 1978, the Western Australian government decided we're going to phase out the town. The last resident, little old lady Lorraine Thomas, was evicted in mid-2022. All the roads to the town have been closed and the signs have been removed, but there's still dickheads that go because it is...
Disaster tourism, but in a subtle sense.
And but the thing is, literally, the town is covered still in asbestos particles all over the town. And one of those particles, just one, can give you mesothelioma, which is a truly, truly horrible way to die. So how many people were killed by the town or by the mine? To date, it seems like 2,000 people have been killed by asbestos-related diseases. There you go. This is literally a cloud of asbestos covering the town, and it's not 100% of people. It's not. Wow, it's not 100%.
So what's all the fuss?
Oh God! Of the 10 men in the photo at the beginning, 9 of them died of asbestosis or mesothelioma. Just the winner, Arthur Della Maddalena. He didn't. He lived to the age of 74. Although he did sue CSR, the company, successfully for psychiatric injury based on his fear of dying of an asbestos-related disease, which you can imagine.
And the payout, lifetime supply of sugar.
Asbestos-related diseases cause approximately 4,000 deaths every year in Australia, with one person dying every 12 hours from mesothelioma. I'll tell you more, how long the companies knew and how much they did to cover it all up.